There's a simple and eye-opening answer to the question, why am I so addicted to cheese? The truth is that dairy contains a specific substance designed to make us addicted to it. It's not just a coincidence, nature has intentionally included this compound to create dependency. This addictive element is present in all dairy products, though its concentration can vary depending on the type of dairy. While this serves a biological purpose for newborn mammals, to ensure they drink enough milk for growth and survival, it can pose a problem for us adults, especially if we're trying to lose weight or improve our overall health. As someone who has personally struggled with a cheese addiction, I know how hard it can be to resist. Dairy's addictive component is real, and it's something I've had to consciously limit in my diet. Despite being fully aware of its effects, I still find myself craving it. It's clear that this substance has a powerful impact on our bodies, which is why it's important to understand what it is, how it works, and how to make better choices when it comes to dairy consumption. So, what exactly is this addictive substance in milk? It's called casomorphins, which are opioid-like peptides naturally occurring in milk. These peptides are produced when the casein, the primary protein in milk, breaks down during digestion. Essentially, casomorphins act similarly to opioids in the body, which is why they can trigger addictive responses. Nature designed these peptides to encourage newborn mammals, including humans, to drink as much milk as possible for fast growth and development. For babies, this rapid weight gain and growth is crucial for survival, but as adults, this same mechanism works against us, especially when trying to maintain a healthy weight or reduce cravings. For those of us following low-carb, keto, ketovore, or carnivore diets, dairy can be very appealing because it's typically low in carbohydrates and high in both protein and fat. These are macronutrients that fit well within those dietary frameworks. However, the problem arises when we try to adopt a proper human diet, which is all about reducing total food intake without feeling deprived, hungry, or constantly craving more food. Dairy's addictive nature, due to its casomorphin content, can make it difficult to stick to those goals. Casomorphins, as addictive substances, stimulate the brain's opioid receptors, giving us a sense of pleasure and relaxation when we consume dairy. These peptides can trigger the release of dopamine, the feel-good neurotransmitter, which reinforces the behavior and keeps us coming back for more. In fact, this is why people can develop a strong craving for cheese, yogurt, and other dairy products. They're not just hungry for food, they're craving that reward response from the brain, making it difficult to stop once you start. Understanding casomorphins is important because it allows you to make more informed decisions when it comes to your dairy intake. Not all dairy products have the same effect, and knowing which ones are lower in casomorphins can help you make healthier choices while still enjoying the benefits of dairy. Dairy is packed with protein, healthy fats, vitamins, and minerals that are essential for health, but it's also crucial to be mindful of the addictive nature of dairy and how it can sabotage your weight loss or health goals. I'll provide a list of dairy products ranked from least to most addictive based on their casomorphin content. This list will help you navigate your dairy consumption, so you can still enjoy the nutritional benefits without falling into the addictive trap. The goal is to enjoy dairy in a balanced way that supports your overall health and helps you achieve your personal wellness goals. By being aware of the casomorphins in dairy, you can make smarter dietary choices that will benefit you in the long run. While dairy is packed with nutrients, it's also important to reduce your intake of sugar and lactose, especially if you're trying to improve your health. But beyond that, you want to avoid dairy that's high in casomorphins because they can make you addicted. The more you consume, the more you'll crave, which can lead to overeating. Casomorphins are a group of peptides that are derived from the breakdown of casein, the primary protein found in dairy products. These peptides are considered to be opioid-like substances because they have similar effects on the brain and nervous system. Casein is a slow-digesting protein, and during digestion, it is broken down into smaller fragments, including casomorphins, which are absorbed into the bloodstream. Once casomorphins reach the brain, they bind to the mu-opioid receptors. These receptors are the same ones that respond to substances like morphine and heroin. When casomorphins bind to these receptors, they trigger a release of dopamine, a neurotransmitter that plays a major role in the brain's reward system. Dopamine is often referred to as the feel-good hormone because it is associated with pleasure, motivation, and reinforcement. This release of dopamine leads to a sensation of pleasure and relaxation, which is why many people enjoy eating dairy products, especially cheese, as they tend to activate this reward system. While this dopamine release can feel good in the moment, it can also lead to a cycle of craving and overeating. Over time, as your brain becomes accustomed to the pleasure of consuming dairy and receiving that dopamine boost, you may start to crave dairy more often. This craving is not necessarily tied to hunger, it is a result of the brain's reinforcement of the behavior. As a result, you may find yourself eating more dairy than you actually need, making it harder to maintain a balanced diet and potentially leading to overeating and weight gain. The addictive nature of casomorphins is particularly prominent in certain types of dairy products. For example, cheese, especially aged cheeses, tends to have a higher concentration of casein and, therefore, a higher level of casomorphins. This makes cheese more likely to trigger the release of dopamine and lead to cravings. On the other hand, dairy products such as milk and yogurt typically contain lower amounts of casomorphins, which may make them less likely to induce cravings and addictive behaviors. For individuals who are trying to lose weight or improve their health, being aware of how dairy can affect their cravings and eating habits is crucial. One approach to managing this is to choose dairy products with lower concentrations of casomorphins, such as low-fat or non-aged cheeses, or opt for dairy alternatives like plant-based milk and yogurt. Reducing the frequency of consuming high casomorphin dairy products can help break the cycle of craving and overeating, making it easier to maintain a healthy diet and reach weight loss goals. Furthermore, it's important to note that while casomorphins can have addictive qualities, they are not inherently harmful when consumed in moderation. For many people, enjoying dairy occasionally is perfectly fine and can be part of a healthy diet. The key lies in understanding how your body reacts to certain foods, and learning to recognize the difference between physical hunger and emotional cravings triggered by the reward system. Here's a list of dairy products ranked from the least to the most casomorphins, so you can make smarter choices when it comes to your dairy intake. If you're a cheese addict like me, don't worry, you're not alone. Knowing this list will help you manage your cravings and make healthier choices. At the top of the list are ghee and butter, which are mostly fat. Ghee is pure fat, and butter contains a small amount of protein and therefore a tiny bit of casomorphin. These are your best options if you want to avoid too many addictive peptides. Next is heavy cream, which is still high in fat but has a bit more protein compared to butter and ghee. Half and half comes next, with a little less fat than heavy cream but still a good amount of fat with less protein, meaning fewer casomorphins. Full-fat yogurt, Greek or regular, is a solid choice, though it does contain some casomorphins, especially if you're sensitive to them. Greek yogurt may have slightly less lactose, but it still has some of the addictive peptides, so it's best to choose full-fat varieties. Soft cheeses come next. These cheeses haven't been aged as long, so they don't concentrate the casomorphins as much, but they still contain some. A2 milk tends to have fewer casomorphins than regular A1 milk, and cottage cheese has more casomorphins due to the protein content. A1 milk contains more casomorphins than A2 milk, and 2% milk has less fat, which means more protein and, therefore, more casomorphins. Skim milk has even less fat, which concentrates the protein and casomorphins further. Hard cheeses, like cheddar and Parmesan, are at the lower end of the list because they concentrate the casomorphins as they age. If you're a cheese addict, this can lead to overeating because these cheeses are high in casomorphins. Whey protein isolate is something you likely won't consume often, but if you do, it can be extremely high in casomorphins. Finally, ultra-processed dairy products, such as processed cheese slices and cheese spreads, are the highest in casomorphins. Manufacturers often make them addictive by increasing the casomorphin content, so you'll keep coming back for more. When it comes to dairy, it's important to consider not only the macronutrient content, fat, protein, carbs, but also the casomorphin content. For some people, eating too much dairy protein, especially the kinds high in casomorphins, can hinder weight loss and contribute to inflammation. If you're following a keto or carnivore diet and eating a lot of cheese, this could be preventing progress. Hope this helps. If you know a fellow cheese addict, like us, share this video with them to help them make more informed choices.